So the Chinese exports to the world has broken all the records this financial year, because in China financial year is being taken from January till December. So in this last financial year 2021, they have made an exceptional um, amount of exports uh, to the whole globe, which has resulted in $674 billion of trade surplus in a global level, which is very shocking to see according to the geopolitics that is taking place all around the world, and the boycott of China is gaining attention throughout the world. Even after that, China was able to gain such an amount of surplus. So in this video, we will be talking about how was China able to get a surplus of this kind, and what led to this, and what are the future scope of the Chinese exports, and we'll be talking about this matter and with respect to India also. So let's talk about this matter. China this year has an export of around $3.36 trillion, which is more actually than the total uh, GDP of India. And talking about they had a surplus of around $676 billion. So how was China able to uh, export so much of goods so that they can have a surplus? And according to some estimates, this is the highest amount of exports that are being made by any country till date. So what actually led to this? As you know, the world is facing the third wave of coronavirus, and because of which supply chain. So the last year we have faced actually two waves of coronavirus. First was in the first half of the year, and second it started from November of 2021, and now we are actually in the third wave of the coronavirus. Uh, so which actually has disrupted the global supply chain overall in Europe, in US, in Africa, all around the world. But in China, because of the successful implication of strict lockdowns and containment zone, they were successful in containing coronavirus, which actually helped Chinese companies and the supply chain not to stop, and which led to more exports to other countries, because the other countries were in much need of raw materials and products, and China was actually providing them with that. So it had a very high advantage with respect to the global situation that was taking place, and overall the global demand was very high, and China successfully tried to meet that global demand, because of which it had a very high export in the last financial year, which you can see in the numbers that are being published by the Chinese government at the end of the financial year in China. So next, talking about the bilateral trade between India and China, it was also up by 43%. To be precise, the bilateral trade of India and China was around $125 billion, which was actually up by 43% than the last financial year. And the Chinese export to India was around $96 billion, which was itself up by 46%. And the India export to China was up by 35%. And it is despite the efforts of the Indian government to boycott Chinese product. And India has also launched its Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign to become self-sufficient, and also to reduce dependence on the Chinese product. And after that also, it is seen that the imports from China is increasing. In the ground level, Indians have started to boycott the Chinese product, but even after that, the imports from China is increasing. It is said that the reason behind this increase of imports from China is the import of the raw materials that is being needed to manufacture medicines and vaccines, which is actually called APIs, which is active pharmaceutical ingredients that are being used in manufacturing of the medicines and the vaccines. And India being an hub for the manufacturing of vaccines, because companies from UK, US, and Indian company itself are producing more and more vaccines for the people in India as well as throughout the globe. So the demand of these APIs have been increasing day by day, and because of which there is a huge spike of the imports that we get in from China. And many experts also estimate that this import of APIs will increase more and more because India is growing as a vaccination manufacturing hub, and it will have to manufacture more and more vaccines, which will indirectly need the APIs from China, which will indirectly increase the imports from China. So, according to the Ministry of Commerce in India, China is the second largest trading partner of India after USA. And this is actually shocking because the Indian government as well as the uh, people of India are trying to boycott Chinese product mostly after the Galwan Valley clash, uh, in which many of our soldiers died, and the sentiment of the people is have been increasing against China since then. But in actual numbers, China has been importing more and more. China has been exporting more and more to India since then. So, talking about what are the major imports that we make from China. So, in India, mostly the imports are smartphones, and the electronics accessories, and plastic goods, and we import APIs which consist of the major of the part, and we also import telecom equipments as well as some metallic goods also and other chemicals also. So this is all what consists of the imports that we make from China. And talking about what we export to China, we export iron ore, which is in a large amount actually, and after that we export organic chemicals, and we export cotton and its products, mostly cotton and similar things like that. So even though we see that many electronic companies have actually moved from China to India, mostly the smartphone manufacturing companies have actually moved from China to India, and many of the automobile companies have also started their production in India. But actually in India, they do the assembly of the products. They take the parts from the other countries and they mostly assemble in India but not manufacture in India, because of which the imports are also very high. Because the actual parts are coming from outside India, mostly from China, because they are having a very good supply chain regarding the electronic products and mostly the smartphones. And it will take time in India to make such an supply chain in India. But for now in India, the assembly of the products is only a major part of what we see in the electronic side of the economy. Next, talking about what steps have the Indian government taken till date to restrict the imports that we make from China. So this all started with the Galwan Valley clash, in which our soldiers actually died in the border of India and China. So the steps that the Indian government has taken is that the Power Ministry of India and the Telecom Ministry of India have banned the use of the Chinese products and the equipments in a governmental level, because as you know that the 5G spectrum will be sold by the government in coming years, and it will require a huge amount and a huge set of equipments for the 5G network, which actually Chinese companies have an expertise of, but Indian government has totally banned the use of Chinese products, mostly in the government companies like MTNL and BSNL. Next, the Indian government has also modified the FDI rules, means foreign direct investment rules, because what Chinese government and Chinese company used to do, if they are not allowed to directly invest in India, what will they will do? They will choose a wire route, means they will acquire a company in Myanmar or Vietnam or any of the other countries, and they will then invest in India via that channel. But Indian government, being cautious about this, they have modified the FDI rules, and what they have said is that any investment that is coming from outside India will be first approved by the central government, then only they will be allowed to invest in companies in India. And lastly, in December 2021, Indian government has actually imposed anti-dumping duties on the Chinese products that were being actually posted to India in a cheaper rate, so that they will be sold in the Indian markets in a cheaper rate than the Indian products. So the Indian government has imposed this anti-dumping duties so that the Chinese products are not being flooded into the Indian markets, and they have an advantage over the Indian products. So this is all about why China was able to make such a huge amount of exports, and they have a surplus of such amount. And I hope you all like this video, and please comment down in the comment section below what do you think about this trade deficit with China, and what steps that the Indian government and the global government should take regarding this matter. See you in the next one.